G'day, John.
Hey, Phil.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, look, sort of been. We had a couple of weeks of activity. We've actually had some events. You know, a couple of times we've had to talk about things coming up or things that were a little while back. It's been a pretty compact few weeks, Phil.
Before we get there, I recognise this top, John.
Well, back in the day when the state actually had money, we actually. We got given a lot of all of our kit. You got shirt, you got dress pants. Actually, they didn't give shoes. I'm a bit disappointed about that. But this is one of the tops, and it looks like this is a Launceston one from '95.
Well, maybe before that you got Perth on there, John.
Oh, there's a few on there, but that was the '90s. Right?
Yeah.
The '80s jacket I found the other day as well. It's the original '84 jacket, and if I dig it out, I'll wear that one day. Just something a bit different. I thought, oh, well, I'll bring this along, and a shout out to our old sponsors, West End. No longer part of South Australia, unfortunately, but a lot of history with West End. They were major sponsors of the association for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, where were we?
So we've had a big couple of weekends. Why don't we start with the event you had on the weekend? That's the latest.
Oh, the latest one? Okay, we did the latest one. That certainly was our Vegas League. 26 weeks of home and away, so fierce competition. Our team was fortunate. We finished top, so we were pretty pleased with the effort. And all the finals positions were up for grabs on the last day. There was a lot of interaction.
Yeah.
So we were actually second, and then we won, and the team that was top got beat, and we went ahead of them on percentage.
Yeah.
So we had exactly the same amount of wins, but our percentage was better. So that was handy. Gave us double chance, Phil, and that's always great, as you know.
Oh, you need that.
Because you have sometimes you just play a duck, and that happened. Our first match, and I'm guilty as guilty of any of my teammates, probably more so. And then I had a shocker, and then fortunately we bounced back in the second one to make the semis on the Sunday. And then Sunday we played the team that finished equal top with us in the semi, and we beat them quite convincingly. So we're pretty pleased with that. But then we ran into the buzzsaw, mate.
So who was in the other semi?
The other semi was Alpha. The Alpha, I think, what do they call themselves? Teams change their name every year. Yeah. So, but it was certainly Alec and Jaden, Stacey, Lyndall. Who was their backup player? Low pointer, because they needed a low pointer because 100 points is the maximum you can have, Phil.
Well, who was they up against? Or who was in their team? Don't remember?
I do not remember.
All we know is that your side played Alex's side in the final.
And look, they played extremely well. We probably could have showed a little more resistance, but even with the big handicap, I think I was telling you earlier, Phil, in round one was near parity, so they made up none of the handicap, which was good for us. And in round 2 and 3, I reckon they ran 6 or 7 racks.
Yeah. And
those are 10 nils. You make up a lot of points. And that sort of broke our spirit, I reckon. We had a few half chances along the way that we just didn't capitalise on, so we could have kept it competitive. But all credit to them. They played absolute quality pool. It was good to watch, and anyone that wants to go and have a look, just ignore my frames, please, but keep an eye on how well they played. And they certainly were worthy champions.
You know what, John, lots of people talk to me about Vegas teams and lineups and low point players and 100-point teams, and John, always in the finals, the cream always comes to the top. And, I'd love to see the record on the Vegas League finals. I'm tipping higher point teams have always come.
Well, it's funny, I reckon in the last 10 years, Phil, and I know you haven't played Vegas for at least 10 years, 5 of those have been low point teams.
Okay.
So they have stuck over the line a few times.
Well, I know when you had your strongest side, John, that was a 100-point team, 5 20-point players. And many teams I won in were 100-point teams. And I see Alex's side with Stacey and Alex and Jaden.
Look, that's very strong.
And very strong. Lyndall.
Lyndall still plays a great game, even though sort of she hadn't played. She's a great competitor, as we know with Lyndall. And Hadn't played for 5 weeks, been away on holidays, came home, still jet lagged today. So I spoke to her earlier today, still not feeling it. So the fact that she played so well was all credit to her. Also pulled off the shot of the tournament. She puts herself into a hole and she got one absolutely smothered ball. And she walks in and has a look at it. All she can hit is half ball left-hand side of it. It's also jammed up against another ball, and the black's near it as well. So she has a look at it and said, well, actually, if I catch this exactly half ball, it squeezes off the other one, there's some chance to go down the rail. And as you know, in that game, you've got to nominate. Yeah. There's no jags. So she's nominated, cracked it. It's gone in at 100 miles an hour, straight down the rail. All these balls have come out, and then the black and the white ball line up dead straight in the corner. So sometimes you get a good shot like that, you deserve a result. So that was by far the highlight of the final in terms of a shot that you're having a look what's going to happen. Actually, yeah, there's some potential there, but just turned out.
So what though, John? 14,000 to the winning team, 9,000 for second, 23,000 for a final. That's a pretty good.
Well, it's good money. It's good money. But we play 26 weeks at $25 a week, so we're sort of we're the contributors. They don't throw anything in there. Where all the players contribute, and that's why
self-funded.
That's why I think the handicap system has kept the league vibrant. Yeah. Because if you just had those same teams win every year, then all of the others will drop off. Yeah. So it's been fantastic, and it's highly competitive. Alex is looking for another couple of Olios. So if anyone has an Olio at home that they're not using anymore,
I've got one of them.
Shout out. Well, there you go. Shout out to the Iceman, because he's looking for 2 more. He wants to add 2 more to the room, so so increase our capacity to have more teams in the league. Yeah. So all credit to him. What happened before?
Well, while we're on the big balls, what about the weekend before? We had the Australian 8-ball championships here.
Absolutely, we did, and we had the 9-ball championship. We had the Scotch doubles on the Friday. Yeah. The 2 favourites, the favourite team, Mikey and James Georgiadis, in the final. Obviously, it's almost written there.
I talked to James this week, John, and you told me that's 5 in a row they've won.
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me.
That's not a bad little warm-up for every event.
Every event, yeah. Let's do that as a warm-up. Then we'll play a singles event afterwards. Yeah. So while we're really in the groove, then
get all their cash early, and
all credit to them.
We're ready to go.
But you're right. They're 2 of Australia's premier 9-foot American players, whether it be 8-ball or 9-ball. Yeah. And they have great chemistry. Yeah. They're good mates. They play a similar style. So there's no need to direct someone around the table. Yeah. Like, if you're James, you play your shot and you just move wide over there because that's where Mikey wants it to go. And then Mikey goes and plays this shot, moves it back over there, and then James plays that one. So they have excellent chemistry. Very good friends, which helps also. It's a shame they can't actually play together in the World Cup pool this year, because I believe that's a big mistake by the management of World Cup pool, because apparently they have dictated to James on whom he should play with. And I know Justin deserves his spot. Justin's a highly recognised player, but in terms of chemistry, and that's what wins those tournaments. You've been there enough time. It's very important to have that chemistry with your partner. And I think Mikey would be just maybe a 5 to 8% improvement over Justin, simply because of that chemistry and the understanding of the game.
I think it could even be more, because like you said, them 2 think it's one.
They do.
They don't even question. They just know what's going to happen, and they've been playing together for such a long time. But anyway, they win again. They beat Sullivan and Bean in the final.
That's right, yeah.
And even Bean making the final.
Oh, Bean's fantastic,
she's a great
and she did well. She made, I think, the quarterfinals or semi-finals of the 8-ball. And that's not her game. She's very much a 9-ball player. She loves 9-ball.
She made the quarters in Jimbo. Jimbo beat her
in a tough game. She played well. I mean, I watched, and I've been a fan of Beans, as you have been for a long, since I first met her. I mean, as this little girl comes along and I'm watching her play, she's amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing her do better internationally this year. She's got a schedule in place and events she wants to play. And I think she's got one coming up next month. So yeah, shout out to B. I mean, these young fellas, they're all really good, but it's always nice to have a female that's a classy player and a lovely girl. You know, doesn't probably communicate as often, you know, as outward as some of the girls. But if you sit down and take the time to have a chat to her, she is really lovely. You know?
Yeah, well, she's an equal in that field, John. And she's, like I said, she's an amazing player. But even still, we're talking about that event, John. Who were the two in the final?
Okay, let's go to the April finals now, and the same two blokes have rocked up again. They've run through the field. There was a major upset last year. You remember that, Bill?
Yeah. Well,
young Daniel, Daniel Porter, actually, he beat the top 4 players in Australia to win the title last year. Daniel did, and he played amazing April. I think he made the quarters again this year. Played okay, not quite as sharp.
Yeah.
And then had a problem, I think he's, because he always broke with his tube.
Okay.
He's cracked it.
Okay.
So I think it was in the quarterfinal match where he's actually cracked the Revo, which is pretty rare. So I'm pretty sure he can get it replaced because Revos are guaranteed for life.
Yeah. And
it's not like he abused it. He just, he breaks and plays with it. You know, breaking with it is an abuse. So hopefully he can get that replaced because it was actually a gift from him from George.
Okay.
Reilly.
Yeah.
From Sydney. And I remember Daniel being just amazed at, you know, why would he give it to me? And I said, he gave it to you because he saw potential in you.
Yeah.
I mean, George is very generous.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a $1,500 cube.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, here you go, young fella. You know, and George, shout out to you if you ever get to watch this. Then, you know, all kudos to you. And I know I've shaken your hand every time I've seen you regarding that. And I think that's a beautiful gesture that hopefully Daniel understands the significance of it.
So the Jimbo and Mikey show, getting to the final again, putting on a good show, and Mikey probably breaking a bit of a voodoo.
Hey, look, I think they were talking about it later on, and I think Mikey said he'd beaten them the last 7 times they'd played in major events, and I think 5 of them were finals.
Yeah.
So he wasn't too happy. He said, I need to get, so obviously very ecstatic to finally get one back. But they both, I mean, didn't matter who won, the other one's going to shake his hand and give him a hug and say, look, well done, you play well. And that's exactly how James did. You know, he took it on the chin. He said, look, I tried hard, but he's played better.
Yeah.
And that's what good mates do. I mean, they always want to rip each other's heart out when they're at the table, but afterwards you shake hands and you wish them all the best and buy them a drink.
With that World 9-ball tour that's coming later in the year, and I mean, I've read a lot of stuff online that Barry Hearn said he's going to turn 9-ball into the next darts, and they're trying to incorporate a world tour, and they're starting off with this Oceania tour, and we've got one of these world ranking events here in Adelaide later in the year. I think that's going to be fantastic for James and Mikey.
Well, for all Australian players, you know, to actually get a chance to play in an internationally hosted event in their home ground.
On their home ground.
And their own tables here, you know, because Alex has had to just make some adjustments to pocket size, because as you know, those tables used to be quite generous.
Yeah.
And he had to put some shims in to get the pocket sizes to the appropriate dimensions. And the tables have come up really good, and the fact that he'd been given that opportunity to host it there is even better, because I mean, obviously, he and Arthur have a little bit of a, you know, they have good rapport.
Yeah.
And it's because I don't think Arthur's in a position to just go and whack 10 tables in.
Yeah.
You know, 10, because I mean, that's a very expensive exercise. Let's just change 10 of my tables. I'll put 10 American tables in. If you want to do it new, probably 90,000, something like that. $9,000 would be cheap.
Jimbo just paid $8,000 for a new table.
Yeah, no,
$10,000. So
so 8 to 10,000. So it's not a cheap exercise just to convert your room to a 9-ball ready room, and you know, Alex got 12 tables in.
Yeah. So I just feel that I don't think there's anyone in Australia that can beat them, John.
I don't still no.
They can get beaten, and Justin's capable, and we've got lots of Chris Calabrese, and we've got lots of capable players, but when everything's fair and even, they're so dominant.
They're so consistent too. You know, they very rarely throw a bad match. You know, there might be a bad frame every so often. Yeah, you know, they're probably just a bit out of sync. But in terms of a match, you have to play extremely well to beat them, and you have to capitalise on every opportunity because any mistake you make, they will punish you.
Well, I've seen in that tournament, John, Noah took Mikey to the deciding frame, and insane about Noah, I seen Noah was in the semi-finals with Ryan Outfit. So
yeah.
Noah's had a good weekend, and no disrespect to Noah, he's a great player, but he could have taken out.
Hey, and played well though. I mean,
that's why
I didn't play the event, but he beat JL the match before, and that went to the hill. And you know, JL's he's a seasoned campaigner, and you've got to play well to beat him. He's never going to give you, there'll be no gifts. And he actually said to me, "Geez, no, played really well." But then he didn't just sort of play one good match. He went on and really pushed Mikey all the way. And that's all credit to Noah. The fact that he's playing at a level where he can push our best player, or one of our top two players, all the way to the hill. Is fantastic effort. Yeah,
that's where the champion just finds that way to win and then kick on from there. You know? So anyway, well done to James and Mikey yet again. Fantastic effort, winning the doubles,
and then competing against each other in the singles.
So,
now, what else was there going on here?
Well, we've had a
you've had a
state billiards title.
Yes,
John. We had a really pretty good event. I didn't see the beginning of it, John. I did play in it because I was over in, I was about to say overseas, but I was in
overseas, then
with the kids for the school holidays. But I came back for the semi-finals, and we had two players from Mount Gambier playing the event. We had Hamish Newberry and Wayne Rose. You probably know Wayne from.
I know Rosie. Yeah. No, we go back a long way. Yeah,
it's fantastic to get them there, and I put them in the event, and I was excited that they actually both got through their group. So they're both unfortunate that they drew Peter Udich. So Hamish drew Peter in the quarterfinals, and Peter played exceptionally well there, and then Wayne made it to the semi-finals. So
well, good effort, Rosie. I didn't know that. I'll send you a message. We're Facebook friends. We exchange a bit back and forth.
So Wayne did exceptionally well. What happened there, John, was that Roger Davey in the round robin beat Max Renziak by a point. And what happened then, that took Max out of that quarter and put him in the bottom half, which presented a gap for Wayne to get through to the semi-finals. So he did very well. So in the semis, I expected the big four, which would have been Peter Udich, Max Renziak, Tab Babiak, Arthur Karanis.
Yep.
But Max missed out and Wayne went in there. So one semi was Peter Udich and Wayne, which Peter won through there. And then the other match was Arthur Karanis, the defending champion, and Tab Babiak, the former champion. And they basically went head-to-head the whole way. Mm-hmm. And Arthur ended up getting up by 30 points. So,
that's nothing.
Very close. So we had a rematch of last year's final, which was Peter Udich and Arthur, which Arthur played superb last year in the final. But Peter has been on fire this year, John. He's been putting a lot of time in the table. I've been back here 4 years, and this year he has put a lot of time in. Yeah. And he's got his, the old Peter, quick around the table, got his tail up. And Peter's a strong front runner. He gets in front. He's hard to stop. And I remember last year, Arthur stayed with him the whole time. Yeah. And then at the end, he got on top and got away from him. But this year, Peter's first two visits, he had a 40 and a 50. And after 10 minutes, he was 100 points in front. Yep. And I know they're playing a 4-hour match, and Arthur's the defending champion. But I just felt that broke that match.
They can do, definitely.
Away. And Peter ended up winning by 500 points. He did 1,000, 1,500. But I think it was just that initial bang. He was out the blocks, got in front, got his tail up, and Arthur just struggled to get back. But fantastic effort on Peter Udich winning his 17th state title.
Didn't say that he'd been how many?
John, he's played 32 state village championships.
Yeah.
He's been in 29 finals. And he's won 17. And so he's had this massive rivalry with Max Renziak. But Arthur's won it twice. Tad's won it once. Gavin Lomax has won it once. So in that, 35 years, there's been
5 players virtually,
that have won it, and 2 have dominated it the whole time. And the way Peter's playing right now, he's playing the best he's ever played, John.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because I actually, when I saw your post about the final, I didn't have a chance to come and watch, because, we were committed, obviously. But I called in and had a cup of coffee with him. As you know, he's got a cafe just not far from here. So whenever I'm passing, I think I must call in and have a coffee and have a chat to Bun, as he's affectionately known here, and has been for 40 years that I've known him. And he said to me, JB, I'm just feeling it again. He said, I'm going in, and said, a couple of those 50s, they should have easily been hundreds, and some of them big hundreds. He said, I miss a silly ball off the spot. I pot off the spot after just building a 40 or 50 break, and where it looks like I'm going to sort of keep going. He said, I made a few little errors, but he said, I just felt like every time I went to the table, I could score heavy.
Yes.
And it looks like he did that, because, he put Arthur under a lot of pressure. And, as we know, Arthur's a great player, but it doesn't matter who you play. If they keep, every time you miss, they score 40 or 50. Unless you're a Matty Bolton that can make 500 or 600 in a go, then, you've got to be under pressure.
Well, in the amateurs, and we'll take Steve Niss and Matthew Bolton out of it, because they're like professionals. In the amateur scene, Peter is scoring as heavy as anyone. Yeah. I've been looking at the current Victorian state titles, because Steve's in there.
Yeah.
Their highest break at the moment in the semi-finals is 108. Peter had 107 in our state title, and I've seen how Peter scores. So Peter's just scoring all the time. And anyway, he's you've known him, we've both known him for a long time, and he's probably not known on the 8-ball scene, because he only dabbled in it now and then. But he's a fantastic player.
And unorthodox curist. You certainly, I've never seen anyone else with such a, how it's got exaggerated elbow out the side, and yet he hits the ball very pure.
Do you know what, John? His tip was concertina, and I said to him, Peter, you need to change your tip. He goes, no, I don't. I said, you do. I said, it's going to affect your state title. He goes, Phil, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to win the state snooker as well. And that just reminded me of the old Bun, so.
That's right. You tell me I can't, I'll show you I can.
Yeah, well, he's already proved me wrong in the village. But anyway, congratulations, Peter.
Yeah, well done, Arthur. Defending your title, you got a chance to get to the final to prove why you two are the top 2 players at the moment here in South Australia. It's fantastic.
Do you know the other special thing about all of this, John, was Rob Hall was watching that final.
That's right, you mentioned that to me.
So we're talking the number 1 or 2 village player in the world. And he's wishing them guys, before the match, he sent a Facebook, good luck in there, and at the end he congratulated Peter on winning it.
Yeah.
And Rob, and we know Rob, and John, he's had some fantastic success recently. He made a 600 break in a tournament in the semi-final, put him into an international final. He lost the final, but he beat amazing players along the way. He had several 500 breaks and a 600 break. So we're talking one of the top 2 professional billiard players in the world, watching our
local Facebook feed,
and wishing them good luck. Yeah. So thanks for that, Rob. And I know that.
Hey, look, we were fortunate enough to be able to interview him here.
Yeah.
And his lovely wife, of course.
Yeah, his their wedding anniversary a week ago.
Shout out if you're keen enough to watch the billiards on Facebook, you might even be watching us this today. But all the best to you both. You're both lovely people, and they were very gracious in giving us their time when they were here in Adelaide last year, mate. Yeah.
So I just think that shows that he's a purist, John. He's watching the final, and he's watching amateurs playing the final as well. So anyway,
all credit to
everyone.
Now, what happened? Last weekend there was Masters final in Tasmania.
Yep.
And as you know, I'm very close to the Tassie boys. They're great fellas. The 2 obvious finalists were there because Jeremy Maguire just turned 50 last year, so he's Yeah, as you know, those young 50s are always the hardest guys to beat. Yeah, they come in, they're still hungry. And he played Greg Lowry in the final, and Greg has probably been the dominant master down there, and still plays a great game. I mean, but yeah, they fought it out in the final, and Jeremy got him this time, so won by a reasonable margin. I know Greg wasn't happy about it. I spoke with him this morning as well, and he said, look, you know, he just couldn't find his stuff. He said Jeremy just played better. So shout out to you guys, and we'll see you in June. What else going on? Oh, Carnival. We have a carnival.
We've got a carnival.
We've got a carnival, the Abassa Carnival. So that's the 8 Ball Association of South Australia. We host our own carnival here in Adelaide at Empire. And we've got 12 teams this year. A little bit disjointed in that sort of some of the entries were that way, this way, that way. And I was supposed to be coordinating it. And then 2 of my executive committee were overseas, and they were getting emails over there, and like it just got a bit disjointed. Consequently, I actually left a couple of teams out that I thought weren't playing.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate to be able to rectify that. I had, through the good grace of some of the others, I was able to switch them around so everyone got a run. Our ultimate goal for the 8 Ball Association of South Australia is to have as many genuine affiliates. So we have City of Adelaide, obviously, because they're very closely aligned. They use the headquarters there too. So they have two men's teams and a ladies team. South Australian ladies have 2 teams. Central has a team. Northern, Louis Rossi's has a team. Then we from the affiliates, we've got Port Lincoln, Whyalla, and Port Augusta. So all be strong teams. The Eyre Peninsula area has always had good players.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to them all coming here. And then who else? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then obviously the 2 South Australian teams. We have 2 teams, and the team I played with last year were fortunate enough to upset the red hot favourites. We played very well in the final and just pipped them. So we've got the opportunity to defend. So they put our team, given us the right to defend it, where we could have swapped players around. The other team is still very strong. It's going to be led by Jaden D'Amica. So looking forward to a good weekend of pool, and it's nice to have our country affiliates coming over to compete against us, or with us, if you like. Yeah, so fantastic.
Well, John, we read this review and you spoke about Tasmania, but in the world of snooker, we had a massive event overnight, John, which is the World Snooker Championship.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how much you've seen of it, but it's been an amazing tournament, John. And we had a massive upset, the guy winning the tournament, and he's generated lots of fans in a
Oh, well, yeah, I've seen some of those shots. That shot where he pumps, I think it must be the black, the last black, to screw down between the brown and the yellow, brown and the yellow spot, to hook back into getting the yellow into play. Is that the one?
Yeah.
And I'm going, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well, John, this that Luca, he's the youngest player ever to make the Crucible at 17, and he's always had lots of potential. And he's made some finals, and he's obviously he's in the top 10 in the world, but no one expected him to take Ronnie out, and especially when Ronnie's 10-6 in.
Yeah, I know. Ronnie had a strong lead. Yeah.
And then Ronnie doesn't win a frame. It'd be very, very rare that Ronnie doesn't win a frame, and let alone lose 7 in a row at a world title. Yeah. And then, so when he does that, John, I'm thinking, well, he's just had a good day, and Ronnie's had a bad day, because Luca Rochelle, who won it, he only won 10-9 in the first round, so he scraped through in the first round, and then he's got to play Ronnie, and he's in the semi against Sai, who's a 20-year-old Chinese boy that no one knows much about him, and all of a sudden, the Chinese boy is 14-5 up, John, in the semi-final. He needs 2 more frames to be in the final of the world title, and Luca wins 11 frames in a row. and John, he's played fearless and attacking, and I think that's why he's automatically got all these fans.
His style of play is very aggressive. But that's probably why he's only ever been number 10. Because he's always been that aggressive style, where we've always believed that all sports there's two sides of it. There's offense and defense, and his defense was limited. But when offense is perfect, it will win every time. So,
but then in the final, John, he's playing Selby, and I actually gave him no chance of winning the final because Selby is such a match player.
Oh, he's
his
a
record
match
in finals is phenomenal.
Match specialist.
And even I don't know if you've seen much overnight, but Luca was 16-10 in front, first at 18.
Yep.
Selby wins 5 in a row and puts on 350 points without him scoring, John, to get back to 16-15.
Does that include the maximum in that?
No,
that was earlier, yeah.
And Russell has finished off with 2 big breaks to win the world title. So we've got a first time a European player has won the world title.
Yep.
It's the first time since Neil won it in 2010 that we've had a non-British player winning the world title. So it's a fresh breath there. A likeable player, an aggressive player.
And good for the game. And obviously the fact that he's developed all these young fans too. Is good for the game. I mean, snooker's always been a fantastic game. Something I've got to mention was that the mini-me Mark Allen.
Yeah.
Where the rest of them go. I saw him because one of our Swifty actually bumped into him when he was over at the World Champ, one of the 8-ball championships.
Plays ultimate ball.
Took a photograph of him. I'm looking at this guy and going, geez, I know that guy. And I'm looking at Swifty, why do you send me that photo for? I think I know him. And then it slowly twigged on who it was.
Yeah.
And then, hey, I think I did a little post, and one of the others that was posted on Facebook was that, it looks like he's taking Ronnie's advice on fitness and health.
The thing is, John, when I was watching, I had the same thing. So when I watched Mark Allen in the tournament, I was thinking, this is like another person playing for Mark Allen because his body's changed so much. It's crazy. But anyway, we have a new world champion and a Belgian player, so that's fantastic.
Well, Luca Purcell. So well done. We look forward to seeing more. It's fantastic to see that we have someone, as you say, from Europe who's upsetting all the United Kingdom players. Usually the United Kingdom dominated that game for as long as I can remember. And to have someone from Europe, I mean, we've had the odd Aussie bob up, and fortunately I was expecting a bit more from Neil this year, actually. I was hoping he'd do better. But to see him not just win, but he won in the toughest scenarios. He always seems to had to fight to get there. There was no, I'm not going to hit the front and keep going. All credit to him. What do you got? I think that's about it for us.
I got one quick one, John, because I know you have to go. In 2 weeks' time, we've got the SA Minor State Championships. So if you've been a semi-finalist in the Open in the last 2 years, you're unavailable to play, but everyone else is available to play. And it's always good to win a state title. So I'm tipping Peter Darby will be licking his lips for that one. But we've got the minor state title.
I'll just give one plug in for our Masters starting in 2 weeks as well. So it looks like we're probably going to have close to maybe 60 players playing our Masters this year.
Great.
It's fantastic. But it's tough enough. It was tough enough when we only had 35 of them. Now they're jumping out the woodwork, and all these new ones are new Masters. They only just turned 50. They're still young and hungry, and those old blokes are going to have to really battle hard if we want to make it back to the Nationals this year. So, look forward to that. You've got some time to come and watch some pool, snooker, billiards, whatever's happening. Come to the snooker centre here at the West Adelaide Footy Club and at Empire, where all the major events are hosted.
All good. John, it's always a pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
See you, buddy.